Hi everyone, my name is Ada. Welcome if you're new here or welcome back. Today I just wanted to sit down, get ready, and chat with you guys. It has been over a year since our last FaceTime sesh and that's way too long. I really just want to do my makeup, get ready, make myself feel extra pretty because I have not touched my makeup in like 3 weeks because I've been so tired and exhausted from everything else in life. So I just want to have an extreme therapy session, therapy by talking with you guys, therapy by doing my makeup. We're just gonna have a fun time today, gossiping, chatting, catching up. It's been a very long time, as I already said. This video is probably going to be a little bit of a longer one because I do tend to ramble on about things. So settle in, grab a snack, get ready with me, whatever you wish to do, and let's catch up. It's been way too long. I really miss talking to you guys, so let's dive right in. I'm gonna try to recreate this makeup look today that I found on Pinterest like an hour ago. My graduation is in a week and a half and I really want to do a nice, soft but elevated glam. Since I brought up school, I guess we'll start there. I am graduating in a week and a half from my undergrad. It has been 6 long, tedious, hard, yet very fulfilling years. And I am graduating with a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science. I've always been really interested in social sciences, history, law, political science, psychology even, geography, since I was little, but my interest really started to grow when I entered high school. Now granted, I did grow up in a very small town and went to a very small high school, so the number of social science related courses that they offered were very slim. Obviously, at least in Ontario where I grew up, you had to take a mandatory geography course in grade 9, a mandatory Canadian history course in grade 10, and then after that you didn't have to touch social sciences again. I feel like most high schools really push science and math related courses onto students, and a lot of my peers that I went to high school with went into science or math related fields, engineering, nursing, healthcare, stuff like that. And that was my original plan. When I was in high school, yes, I did take more social science courses than most other people. I took history all throughout high school. Not to brag, but in my grade 11 ancient history course, I got the highest mark on the exam that the teacher had ever seen in like her 15 years of teaching the course. I got 1 mark off. I got a 99%. Still salty about it to this day. Although I took history all throughout high school, that was pretty much the extent of the social science courses that were regularly offered at my school. There were other ones that could go on if enough students enrolled. Like there were geography courses that grade 11 and 12s could take. I think there was a law course, there was a psych course. Psych is not really my forte. The only courses that regularly occurred were the psychology class and then the various history courses that they offered in grade 11 and 12. My school actually offered 2 history courses in grade 11, American history and ancient history, but they had to make the tough decision to cancel one of them and move all the students into the other one because there was not enough roll in either. So it was either ancient history occurred or American history, and they ended up canceling American history, which at the time I was really bummed about, but looking back, I'm very grateful that they chose to cancel that one and not ancient history because ancient history was very interesting and definitely way more interesting than American history would have been. But the moral of the story is that my school didn't offer very many social science courses, and even if you wanted to enroll in like a geography course or something, it would more often than not get canceled because not enough students enrolled. So my idea for my future at the time when I was in high school was to enjoy social sciences while I was there, but once I went into university and proceeded with my life and my future, I would focus on sciences. I'm not saying I didn't enjoy sciences. I took biology and chemistry all throughout high school. I could not be bothered with physics. I absolutely despise physics. I actually loved chemistry. Chemistry was my second favorite course behind history. My original plan before eventually deciding on what I actually went to university for was to go into chemical and physical sciences and eventually become a chemist. And my dream at the time was to become a makeup chemist because I was really into makeup, really into cosmetic formulation, and I was constantly looking up how to like start a makeup brand. I was 16, by the way. I was really dreaming big back then, but I really wanted to make that happen, at least at the time. So my goal was to go to school for chemical and physical sciences, become a makeup chemist, and eventually start my own makeup line, or even just work for a makeup line that I really liked, like Anastasia Beverly Hills or even Morphe at the time. I know that cuts deep for some of you. In 2018, 2019, that was a very big thing. It was a very big brand. As I researched more about schools and programs and what I would be required to take if I were to enroll in a chemical and physical sciences program, I realized very quickly that I would not just be able to take chemistry courses and avoid the other sciences because I loved chemistry. As I said, I didn't mind biology, it wasn't my favorite, but I tolerated it, and then I could not stand physics. But in a university program, there are required courses that you have to take whether you like it or not for basically every program imaginable. I've had to take required courses in my political science undergrad that I definitely didn't like, but it's just what happens, it's just what you have to do. And as I started to realize that every chemical and physical sciences program imaginable at any university in Ontario, the province that I live in, would require me to take other math and science courses, my dream of becoming a makeup chemist started to fade away because my want and willingness to enroll in a chemical and physical sciences program started to falter as well. When I finally realized that chemical and physical sciences was probably something that I didn't want to do long term, I had decided mentally to just suck it up because my graduation was like a month and a half, 2 months away. I couldn't really apply to any more programs, and I had just sort of come to terms with the fact that I would do at least a year of chemical and physical sciences. Maybe I would like it, I didn't know, but I was like, I would do at least a year, and if I hated it, I would transfer to a different program. The plan I had built in my head came crashing down one day when I was sitting in the living room and my mom came home from work, I think. The vibe was definitely off in the room and she could tell that something was wrong. I mean, motherly instinct, she always knows when something is wrong with me, when I'm feeling off. So she turns to me and she goes, "What's wrong?" And you know when someone asks you what's wrong and the floodgates just open and you start like crying and all the emotions come out? That's exactly what happened, and I started sobbing. I had a panic attack. I had a little bit of a mental breakdown. I just let everything out and I confided in her that I didn't really want to do chemistry anymore because of all the other requirements. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I didn't want to not go to university. I wanted to do something. I wanted to go to school, but I didn't want to go to school for what I had applied for, and it felt like I had to because the deadline to apply to most programs had already long passed. My mom was eventually able to calm me down, and she looked me in the eyes and went, "I know this is tough, I know this is scary, but it is better that you realize this now and not 3 years down the line when you are almost done your degree." She was obviously very right, and she told me that she would help me look at other programs, see if there were any still available that I wanted to apply for. I think she knew before I even did that I would enjoy a social science degree much more than I did a science degree. So she told me before I had even realized in my own brain that I should apply for a social science program. And I applied for one social science program because it was one of the only ones open. It was relatively close to my hometown, yet it was far enough away where I could move into res, and I applied there. I applied to like 5 science programs. I got into 4 of them, and then I applied to this one social science program. Thank God I got in because I do not know where I would be now if I had not. But I got in, I accepted it. I went to that university, obviously. I've been there for the past 6 years. Deciding to switch last minute from sciences to social sciences was a very hard decision, and one that I almost didn't make if it were not for my mom. But I would say that the hardest decision, a decision even harder than that I've made in the past 6 years since I started my undergrad, was deciding what I wanted to specialize in. I wanted to do either political science or history, but deciding between those two was very tough, very tough. My final decision came down to what I thought would give me a better chance at getting a good career in the future, and so I chose to do political science. Obviously I'm getting a political science degree, but I decided to specialize in something called global citizenship, basically just meaning that a lot of my course content focused on global issues, global perspectives, the global economy, globalization, and not just Canadian politics. My school offers 2 political science specializations outside of the general poli-sci degree. One of them is judicial law, which I was actually enrolled in first because I had decided that I wanted to be a lawyer, and going to the judicial law specialization felt like it would give me like a little bit of a boost. And then the global citizenship one, which I switched into right before I started second year. As I said before, Canadian politics, US politics didn't really interest me, so realizing that I could study global perspectives and learn about global issues and global worldviews really piqued my interest. I can confidently say that the past 6 years have taught me so much, and I feel like I've grown a lot because of the stuff that I've learned about, and I have so many new perspectives on things that I had never known existed before I entered university, before I entered my second year and started my global citizenship program. I feel like a more complete person because of my undergrad. And yes, it was hard. Yes, it was tedious. Yes, there were many times where I wanted to get out and I wanted to just finish my degree and be done with that school, be done with that. There are many reasons why I felt that way, not just academic related, but like personal reasons. But looking back, looking deep down, I will cherish these past 6 years the rest of my life and cherish the stuff that I've learned. And I've made the decision to continue with my academic career and go get my master's and potentially even my PhD and work towards becoming a professor because of my program. I didn't feel that way at all when I entered university. I kind of wanted to be a teacher, like an elementary high school teacher. I never thought that I would be going and pursuing an academic career that far. But that has truly become my goal and my passion, is academics and research and learning. I've always loved learning, but never to this extent. I don't know what brand this is, but it's called the Club Suppin Powder. And it's like this really pink powder. First off, it comes with this adorable powder puff. But it's this like sheer pinky-ish powder. It's actually really pretty. It really sets the makeup, but it also like lose a little bit of shine too. I was gonna jump back into it, but I have to do my eyeliner anyway, so I'm just gonna stay silent until my eyeliner is done, and then we will jump back into the gossip sesh. Not the worst eyeliner I've ever done. Was that Jisoo meme?
Not bad, but not good.
Yeah.
This eye is always harder because it's on my opposite side. I can't do this. Okay, sorry, that was a random outburst. I didn't contour my nose. I was like, something is off. I was like, I forgot something, I forgot a step. I didn't contour my nose. I am very excited to graduate. I am nervous. I am scared. I do not know what the future holds, but that is also exciting. And I have a gut feeling that the future has very exciting things planned for me. I got my grad dress last week, and my original plan was to order from House of CB because I wanted to order from there for forever, and I thought what better occasion than to order and splurge for my graduation. I didn't find a dress that I was absolutely in love with though, and for the price point, I would have been paying around 450, 500 Canadian dollars for a dress. I wanted to be in love with the dress that I bought, but I couldn't find one. So eventually I went to Old Polly, and I have quite a few dresses from Old Polly. I think they're a good middle between cheap and expensive, and most of their dresses are good quality. I've maybe been let down once. To be honest, the options on Old Polly were not that much better, but there was one dress that I fell in love with, and it felt like fate because they had one size left in stock. All the other sizes were sold out, and they were low stock on that size, and it was a size that would potentially fit me. So I ordered it. I decided to go for it. I ordered it. I had to pay $90 in duties for that dress. Oh my god, I was so annoyed, but I did it because I was in love with the dress. The dress came, and my biggest fear was that it wasn't going to fit, and I would have had an actual meltdown, but it ended up fitting perfect. And in that moment I was like, oh my god, that dress was fate. It was meant to be. And I went and showed my mom, and I cried. I started crying. I was tired from work, but I also was feeling all these emotions that hadn't been let out yet, hadn't been released, because the idea of graduating still felt so far away. She came up and hugged me and was asking me why I was crying, and I was like, I don't know, I think it's just hitting me. And I just felt really pretty in that moment, and there have been very few times where I've looked in the mirror and felt truly beautiful, and that was one of those times. And I just couldn't hold it in. There were so many emotions flowing, and she cried with me a little bit, and we hugged, and that made me extra excited for my grad, but also made it extra real that, oh my god, I'm graduating in 2 weeks. At least at the time it was 2 weeks away. Now you may be wondering, what are my plans for the future? I am taking a year off to just work, make money, travel a little bit. I definitely want to travel in the fall somewhere. I have not been on a vacation, on a proper vacation, since 2019 when I went to Europe. I went to England and France as a school trip when I was in grade 12. That was the last time I properly went on vacation. I do not count the time that I went to a little hotel for my birthday in 2022 with my 36-year-old boyfriend when I was 20. We don't talk about that. And I want to start solo traveling. Yes, it's very daunting. I hate airplanes. They make me feel sick, nauseous. I hate heights. I hate airplanes. So those two together, because obviously you can't really be on a plane and traveling on the ground. So it's a recipe for disaster, but I will do it because my love for traveling and exploring and learning trumps my fear of heights and planes. Beyond this next year though, I do plan on going back to school for my master's. My goal as of right now is to do my master's outside of Canada. I either want to do it somewhere in Europe, like Germany or the Czech Republic, because they offer free tuition for international students doing their master's. I would love to go to the Czech Republic. My family's from there. My great-grandparents were from Czechoslovakia back when it was still Czechoslovakia. And I'd love to go there, explore, learn a little bit about my culture, my history, or my family's history. If I decide to not do it in Europe, I want to do it somewhere in Asia. I was supposed to travel abroad and study in South Korea like 2 years ago, and that ended up falling through, so it'd be really cool to do it in South Korea or Japan. I was looking at Singapore or Taiwan or Hong Kong, but I don't know what is in the water there. The tuition prices there are astronomical in those three countries. They're like 40,000 plus Canadian dollars a year, whereas Japan and South Korea, the programs that I was looking at, are closer to 6,000-7,000 a year, which is similar to what it's like in Ontario at least. Here is the finished look. I'm actually in love. Not saying it's super out there, super different, but compared to my normal eyeshadow, which is a light brown, a light pink, and then a very light wash of sparkle, this is pretty different for me from what I have been doing over the past like 2 years straight. I feel gorgeous, and I think I'll be able to adapt this and tone it down a little bit for grad. I really like how the eyeshadow looks. I really like it. That is going to be it for today's FaceTime Get Ready With Me. I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you had fun. If you did enjoy today's video, please like and subscribe down below, as well as follow me on all my social medias. Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter are all in the description down below. And with all that out of the way, thank you so much for being here today, and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys!